Sorry, hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry, guys. I was muted. I don't know why I was muted. Can you guys hear me now? Let me double check. Everyone, can you hear me? What's going on, everybody? Today's Wednesday, isn't it? Yes, it's Wednesday. I think I'm okay. Yeah. All right. Mark, I think you saw that there was no audio. Can someone verify that there's audio? I think we got audio. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to redo the intro. What's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois, although by now it's 3:01. So 3:01 here in Chicago. Time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. How are you guys doing today? This reminds me of a joke that my younger daughter, the 4-year-old, has been doing. I tweeted about it earlier. My younger daughter, she loves video calls. She just absolutely, I guess she grew up with them in a way, but she loves video calls. And every time she gets on a video call, regardless of whether a person is muted or not, she will just start yelling, "You're muted." So like I could tell, like when my daughter, like the younger daughter, is on a FaceTime, or they use like the Facebook Messenger app. There's a Messenger app for kids that like parents have control over, like, access to. And so like when we let the kids have iPad time, they can like go into that app, and if they want to go see if grandma's online or something like that, they can bug grandma. And she'll get on with grandma and be like, "Grandma, you're on mute." And I can hear grandma saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?" And she goes, "No, grandma, you're still on mute." And I'm like, "Grandma, we can hear you fine. She's just messing with you." So I don't know why she does that. I don't know if she understands what that means. I think she understands what mute means. So I don't know if she does it intentionally as a joke, or if she just heard us say that to other people so much she just thinks that's like a greeting or something that you say. I don't know. But that's what happens with the younger daughter right now when you get her on FaceTime or on Messenger or on Zoom. But yeah. All right. Today is a fantastic day in Chicago. It is beautiful. It is probably the nicest day that we've had so far in 2021. I think it was like 2 Saturdays ago, or was it last Saturday? I don't remember. I think 2 Saturdays ago, we had like a 50-degree day. We're going to get even warmer than that today, I think. I took the girls out for a nice long walk. We played at a playground today for an extra long time. My daughter has a new kind of like virtual school schedule, so Wednesday gives us a little bit more time. So we played outside for a real long time. It was very nice. We had the park to ourselves. The girls could take like a mass break while they were playing, and it was just nice. It was really nice. Very much enjoyed it. And today, I am going to go and hang out with my running buddy today. He's got a backyard. He's been wanting me to come over. He has a fire pit, so we're just going to go hang out outside by the fire. And I haven't seen him in person in over a year. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right, let's see how you guys doing today. All right, Martha's here. Good to see you, Martha. Shannon's here. Scotty B said, "Hey, all, had a great 6-miler in a new town today. Weather's getting warmer." Yes, it is. It sure is. Spence says, "My team at work is putting together shirts to commemorate the last year of work from home. It'll say, 'Sorry, I was on mute.'" Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of those. I've seen like the mugs that are like that too, which I think those are pretty funny. I mean, granted, maybe if I actually had to deal with that on a regular basis, I wouldn't find it funny, but I think it's funny. So, yeah. Zach says, "Now we all have to troll you every live stream by telling me I'm on mute." That'd be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. It would drive me insane. It would. Man. Yeah, Benoit says, like, "Wow, a real life social interactor. Embrace yourself." Yeah, I mean, we hung out with my sister-in-law and her kids playing in the snow and stuff. And we saw my brother-in-law and his family, but everything was outside. And I guess this is still outside too. But like, outside of like my family, this is the first person I'll see. So that'll be, I mean, it's strange. I'm kind of like weird. I'm like weirdly like strange about it, just because it's like, I don't know, I've been wandering in the wilderness for a long time kind of thing. So, so yeah, there's that. But, my wife just ordered a new beer, not a new beer, a beer I've had before many times, but a beer I really like, from Revolution Brewing here in Chicago. And we'll have a couple beers. I mean, I'll have to drive home, so like it won't be, and it's a Wednesday, so it won't be a lot. But yeah, it'll be nice to and it'll be a nice day. So it'll be nice to just kick back and relax a little bit. All right, we got some questions coming in here. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, Steve says, "Almost 7 miles in the Mach 4 tonight. Loving the shoe. one problem. Hookah dad joke says my watch died and the run wouldn't sync to Strava. Oh, that's a bummer. But you still get to you can still do a manual entry, so there's still always that. So. Brenda Logan says, "Hi, I'm relatively new. Great to be here." Well, welcome, Brenda. Thanks for showing up today. Glad to have you here. Hope you enjoy. It's going to be pretty chill. What you've been hearing is what it is. So if you want to join in on the conversation, feel free. If you have a running question or anything like that, feel free to drop that in there too. I always try to, make sure I get to the people with running questions because that's kind of why people might come. But otherwise, welcome. Derek Fitzpatrick says, "Found your runner's knee vid very helpful. Thank you." Well, I'm sorry to hear that you needed that video, but I do hope it's helping you, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Albert Long says, "Do you guys ever get grumpy if you don't get to run?" I definitely do. My wife knows, and she can tell. Sometimes, if I get a late start to the morning, and my wife wakes up a little bit early. Usually I'm out the door before anyone else in the house wakes up. But sometimes there's like a little overlap in the morning, and my wife will be like, "Are you not running today?" So I think it kind of like worries her, or it's like, "You didn't come back yet already, did you?" So I think she likes it when I go out for my run. Kofuzi, would you mind turning on the cat filter? I don't know. I don't have that on. I don't think StreamYard, the service that I'm using, has that. So I don't have filter ability or green screen. I think it does have green screen ability. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know. Maybe I do have the access to that. Well, I do have access to green screen, but I don't think I have access to cat filter. That'd be kind of fun. I do really enjoy that Liberty Mutual commercial with the emu, where the guy puts on the emu filter and the emu goes crazy. I don't know why, but that I enjoy that one. Raged Lawyer says, "Do you eat before running?" Sometimes. I usually only will do it. I'll only make sure I do it either before a race or before my long runs, because I just like to have some food on board before I get out there, just so that way it's kind of like, fill in the tank before you head on a road trip kind of thing. So that's what I'll do. Usually my favorite kind of before run food is either cookies, if my mother-in-law has made some cookies. Banana bread is also very good. And I like toast with almond butter and jelly, or peanut butter and jelly is fine if that's what you got. So those are the kinds of things I like. They're filling. They digest pretty quickly. They're tasty. So that's kind of what I do. Slash Prime says this is his first Kofuzi Run Club live stream. Well, welcome. Hope you enjoy today. Awesome. Lots of newbies today. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Matt says, for fat slices of French toast slices with Nutella. That's all you need to know. Interesting. Shannon says, Kofuzi, I'm not a cat, Philip. I think I love that cat video because in my consulting life, in my previous life, I guess, my previous career, part of the work that we did was dealing with that exact type of problem. And one of the reasons I decided to shut down the business is that I was like, oh, we're going to be dealing with a lot of it. Not that people like that, not like the cat lawyer was like the reason why I shut down the business, but I'm like, yeah, for the next long time, the business is going to have to pivot to supporting a very different kind of legal client or lawyer client. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. And I'm not interested in digging out of a hole. So there was a couple of reasons for that, but that video hit me hard on a couple of levels. Not only did I think it was hilarious, but I was like, oh yeah, that reminds me of work. Alec Arrow wants to know, I don't eat porridge before I run. No, I don't eat porridge. I don't usually eat oatmeal. I might have oatmeal after a run because I do think it's delicious and filling. But again, I'd rather eat my oatmeal in granola form or in oatmeal cookie form. I like oatmeal pretty much any way I can get oatmeal. I like it, except as oatmeal or porridge, whatever that is. When it's in that slop form, and I just don't find it very appealing. I always want it. It's never sweet enough, and it's never crunchy enough. So that's kind of the thing about it. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. just to make sure I'm getting to everybody. Diaz says, strike question. How does it work as it's only placed on one foot? Shouldn't it be one on both, like pedal power meters for cyclists? Yeah, I think that it extrapolates it assumes that what's happening on the one foot is happening on the other. So I think that's what it's doing, and then it just does the math accordingly. That's my understanding. The thing that really surprises me though is all right, cyclists have power meters at the pedals. That I get. Stride is a foot pod that gives you power. Well, the things that I don't understand are there's Garmin has a chest strap that gives you power. I mean, that's probably the least motion you have on your body is in your chest, right? So I don't know how that even works. And then a lot of watches now do power from the wrist. And for the most part, I've seen that it's pretty accurate. The numbers aren't the same. It's the scale is off or something, but in terms of the peaks and valleys and the relative magnitudes of the peaks and valleys, it seems to work. So that to me is really weird. All right. Teddy Man Tactical says, what does a rocker shoe mean? Rocker shoes are shoes that have they're kind of curled. So if you think about if you envision in your mind, what does the bottom of a midsole look like? You'd probably draw it, if you were to draw it, you'd probably draw a top part for the heel, and then it slants down to the toe. I started over too far. Up at the heel, slants down to the toe. And then on the bottom part, the part that touches the ground, you probably just draw it straight across, right? A rocker kind of starts at back at the heel and then towards the ball of the foot curls up. So that way, as you're hitting it, it rolls forward because there's no shoe there, right? And so the rocker idea is kind of think about the, I guess, what are they? The skids part of a rocking chair, how it's curled. It curls like that at the front. And the idea for that is to give it like a rocking chair, a smooth rolling motion forward. So that way, even if you have really high stack height and a low heel drop, you're still able to move through the gait cycle quickly, rather than feeling it's if it had zero rocker, the crazy example of it would be trying to run in flippers, right? So if you think about people in flippers, they always do that weird walk because you can't make your foot bend properly because it's too long, right? And so the rocker makes it so that way you can still walk correctly. Hopefully that makes sense. Munstier Arla says, hi man, if you measure your foot to be 30 centimeters, would you get a shoe that size or go 0.5 centimeters up from that? Yeah, I haven't had my foot measured in a long time. But I think generally, yeah, I think that sounds right. Cause there's the regular shoe size and then there's a running shoe size. And, you need a little bit of space in there. Your feet, the front of your toes shouldn't be touching the top of the shoe. I don't think that I would find that comfortable in a casual shoe either, but yeah, you want a little bit of space up there for your foot to move around a little bit, and your feet swell while you're running. And as you're running, your feet need to move a little bit. So you need a little bit of space in there. All right, let's see. A lot of questions today, which is cool. I love it. Carlos wants to know, what's going on, Carlos? Says, do you ever retire shoes? With all the reviews, seems like you wouldn't wear them all that long for hundreds of miles. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've really retired a shoe. I usually retire my shoes at 100 miles and I donate them to charity or to Salvation Army. I don't think it's Goodwill. I think it's Salvation Army that we bring them to, or I give them to my nephews. Although now most of them are bigger than me. So there's only my godson who is 6 or no. He's not 6. He's my daughter's age. He's a little bit older than my daughter. So he's 10. And already his shoes are, and mine are the same size. And then, see, in my mind, he was my daughter's age. So I equated into my younger daughter, but he's 10 because he's the same age as my older daughter. But, or a little bit older, a couple months. And then, yeah. And then I have another nephew who's, I think 15, who might be able to still wear them. But yeah, everyone else is much bigger than I am. So yeah, most of them I don't. And it's just because there's too many shoes. So I don't have the luxury of that. I do think that I'm going to try and take 1 or 2 pairs of shoes to like 300 miles this year, just so that way, I can, make sure I'm still aware of what that feels like, and also to get better sense of like durability. So I think that's important too. Mark wants to know who has the best rocker, Hookah or Saucony? I mean, Hoka's been doing it for a long time, so I would tend to say that theirs is better. I mean, like, think about the rocker on the Clifton. It's really nice. It works really well. It makes it very comfortable to run in. But yeah, I mean, a lot of shoes are incorporating it to, varying degrees as well. They might not call it that, but it seems like every shoe has like, every max cushion shoe has a little bit of something in it, it seems, New Betra says, maybe because of my preconceived notions of Under Armour, but I was surprised to see Ed Bud's review of that new Flow Wind. One you might try. I've been looking at it because I saw Ed Bud's pictures of it. I did watch his video today. And it was interesting to see. Ed Bud and I usually have very different opinions on a lot of shoes. I think he likes his shoes a little bit different than I do. And he loves this one. So I'm like, I don't know if I'll love it. But, it's been probably like 2.5, 3 years since I've reviewed an Under Armour shoe. So I'm certainly due. But I would say in my defense, Under Armour hasn't really updated any of their shoes in 2.5 to 3 years. So like this is the first year they made some changes, it seems, or changes that I've noticed. So I would like to look at least one of them this year. I don't know if the Flow Velocity Wind, there's a lot of words in that name, which I'm just like, some of these other ones, when the names are real long, at least one of them is usually like a foam trademark, but Flow Velocity Wind, that's just like, let's make it the Under Armour Flow. And then they're like the Google searches were like, well, it's not good for Google searching. Let's add another word. Wind, Flow Wind Under Armour. No, that's not a good Google search result either. Flow Wind Velocity. I mean, I don't know. Like they just keep adding words to it. And I'm just like, I don't know. None of them mean anything. But I guess, wait, Flow is the name of the foam, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving Under Armour a hard time. Yeah. Rick Sutter says, the nice thing about Stride is that an independent lab has verified and provided a highly correlated formula from Stride Power and VO2 Max from non-elites. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Very cool. Zach Bag says, just watch their mid-roll ads video. Any idea how viewers who pay for premium and don't see any ads affect those numbers? It's small. So it's less than maybe like 7%, I think, of the people that watch that are premium members, because that number gets split out separately. And my understanding, I remember, and I don't know if it's changed, but someone was telling me that like the best way to make sure that the content creators that you watch are rewarded, just by your watching them, is to be like a YouTube. It was called Red at first or something like that, wasn't it? Is to become a YouTube Red member, because they were saying that like then like your YouTube Red membership dollars get spread across the people that you actually watch or something weird like that. And I was like, is that true? I don't know if that's true, but that sounded interesting to me. I never ended up doing YouTube Red, but because it just seems weird to me to pay for YouTube, but I know a lot of people are doing it and you guys really like it. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it does get split out, but it's not a large percentage of the views. Hostdog says, I remember you saying you typically only use gels for long runs, but what about your sessions? Does it depend on time, energy expenditure / pace you'll be reaching, or is it day to day? I usually, on a hard workout, I'll usually bring a gel. But when it's been cold out, I've been bringing gels and ended up not using them because the workouts are short enough that I probably don't, or like so intense that like, when I'm doing like the mile repeats with a 1 minute rest, that's a really short minute. I don't want to spend time fumbling around in my pocket taking my gloves off, trying to get a gel while also catching my breath. Because it takes me about that whole process will take me about 40 seconds. So by then, my rest is essentially up and it doesn't feel like I got any rest. So some of those sessions I just didn't want to. And then others I would bring the gel and I wouldn't eat it until like the cool down, because I might have like a 3-4 mile cool down. And so just to like get something in the system, not so much to give myself a boost for the cool down, but just so that way I'm not getting so depleted for the next day. So that way, I mean, take the idea of like, you want to have like your protein drink like within 30 minutes of your workout. I'm taking that concept to like not the next level, but just to a different level. So that way I don't feel so like drained by the time I get back. The main reason for that also being I pick very voluminous gels in the wintertime and I don't usually bring water. So like that's another kind of reason for that too. But yeah, if it's, I mean, it will also depend on the pace. If it's going to be faster than threshold, then I'm less inclined to bring gels, because usually those reps are shorter and there's a lot of them. And so like, there just doesn't feel like a right time, to do it, because it's usually just like bang, 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 bang. It's just like rifling them off one after another. But if it's something that's longer, I kind of like bringing gels and eating them, because then it's practice for like when you're in a race to eat a gel at speed, even though I usually eat them only during the rest. So that's kind of how I look at it. That probably changes a little bit once the temperature goes up, but at that point, then there's also water fountains along the route in the lakefront trail. And, so things change a little bit. All right, let's see what else we got here, guys. Or McGowan says, what's the shortest distance that you would bring a gel? I think I would bring a gel for, I mean, like, I could see bringing a gel for like an 8-mile run if it was not an easy run. So if like there was something else in it, then I might bring a gel. I usually go by time on it. So like if I'm going to be going more than, I feel like, like I don't need a gel. I don't find myself needing a gel unless I'm like completely fasted and I'm hungry before I even leave. Then I might want a gel within 30 minutes of running, but I rarely want a gel within like 30 minutes of running. So for 30 or 45 minutes. And then like, if I'm going to be done in another 10, then I'll just deal with being hungry or not feeling as topped up. But if I'm going to be out there for another, so if like it's like an hour, maybe that might be a little bit short. But if it's going to be like 8 miles and some of those are fast, maybe I'll bring some. But I'm a big proponent of bringing one anyway. And if you don't use it, you don't use it. So Chase Summit, what's going on, Dave? It says, do you use anything in your water like Tailwind for electrolyte supplement? Yeah, if I'm bringing a pack, then I'll put something in the pack. But like a lot of times along the lakefront here in Chicago, I will rely on water fountains, so I don't have to bring water with me in the summertime. But if I'm out somewhere that's not here, like when we were in Iowa, I'll bring a pack. And I love Tailwind. Tailwind tastes great, and it's like all day sippable. The flavor is very subtle. So that's one that I will use in addition to gels. So then, I probably end up taking like a lot of sugar on my run, but I don't know. It's just, but I feel like, I've run into trouble before and it really stinks. So it's like, I don't mind being a little bit heavy on the sugar. Alan Shrimpton says, Kofuzi, can you give me the difference between the Adidas Solar Boost and the Ultra Boost? Yeah, I think I can. I mean, to the extent that I think anyone could give you an answer on the difference between the Solar Boost and the Ultra Boost, I think I can. The Ultra Boost is supposed to be more of the max cushion shoe, and the Solar Boost is supposed to be more of the daily trainer. So the way that it kind of used to go, it used to be like Ultra Boost, Solar Boost, then like Boston 9, and then Adios. And those were like the Adidas running shoes. And so like from fastest, shortest, like Adios 5 used to be like the half marathon and marathon racer. Then Boston 9 was the trainer / marathon racer. And then you had the Solar Boost a lot of people ran in. Those were the bulk of your miles. And then the Ultra Boost was supposed to be like your, recovery day, your very, very long run day, that kind of thing. That has changed and morphed a little bit over time as like the Ultra Boost kind of like got taken over by sneakerheads. And now it seems like every max cushion shoe doesn't want to be max cushion anymore, except for like the Bondi, which is still unapologetically super max cushion. Everything else wants to be like the max cushion that you can do like, some pickups in, so like something like that. So that's where the Ultra Boost is going, which then kind of makes it merge a lot with the Solar Boost. Last year was the most confusing year of all of them because basically what they called the Ultra Boost 20 was like an updated Solar Boost. It had very similar upper to this. The Ultra Boost 20 had almost identical upper as the Solar Boost 19. And I think Adidas recognized that, and they didn't make a Solar Boost last year, if I'm remembering correctly. And so this year there's a Solar Boost, and they're calling it Solar Boost 3 for some reason, not Solar Boost 21, but that's fine. But yeah, and so that one, it's more intended to be like the daily trainer, and then the Ultra Boost. I think this year is supposed to be also more of a daily trainer, but it has more of the cachet of being Ultra Boost, and it costs a lot more too. So, all right, it looks like Josh is here. What's going on, Josh? Good to see you. Stevie76 says, I know people who won't drink out of a public drinking fountain. Now these days, every time I think about when people describe it as like public drinking fountain, I think of that Parks and Rec where they would just put their entire mouth all over the drinking fountain. But I can understand that. Are they runners though, Stevie? See, I feel like runners are like, oh, water, and they'll start drinking it. I'm like, I hope this is potable. I feel like that's how runners treat it. What's been nice along the lakefront here is they've been converting some of the water fountains to like water fountains with a bottle thing in it too, which I think is real nice. So, all right. Ooh, Josh, I emailed Josh today. So he says, check your email. Cool. Awesome. All right. Ben Y says, do you drink coffee every day? I always try to have one day a week where I don't have a cup, mostly so I can keep getting the energy benefits from it. That's very smart. It's very disciplined. I don't have that kind of smartness or discipline. I drink coffee every day, a lot of it. Today I drank a lot of it, a lot of it. And when we were at the park, I brought a cup of coffee with me outside today, and I drank it on the way to the park and at the park. And at the park, I was like, I think I might have had too much coffee today. I was not getting jittery, but I had that like, oh, there's a lot of caffeine on the system right now. So I had that for sure. My cows wants to know, is there any simple way to clean bladders? I'd say no, there isn't. The best thing that I can say is just rinse it immediately afterwards. Maybe with some soapy water. I just jostle it a lot, and then make sure it air dries, because a lot of times they like the two plastic layers will like stick to each other, and like a water will be in there, and that's like a mold kind of like petri dish basically. So I usually put something in there, whether it's just like a crumpled up paper towel or some sort of like riser to let air flow in it a little bit better. And then I don't feel like I need to actually like use soap every time. And then unless sometimes if the flavor of what I'm drinking is very strong, then I might need to right away. But usually, I don't need to. All right. Yeah, Matt says as far as gels goes, he will typically not carry gel on a run less than 13 miles. Yeah. I mean, my cutoff used to be 10, but then like at 8, I started thinking like, so I might want one. So, there's some times where I'm like, I might just eat the gel, even though I don't necessarily feel like I need it, because I'm like, oh, I've brought this gel on like 4 runs. There's like 30 something miles on this gel. I'm like, that's a lot of like sweaty time on my hip, that a gel has spent. So I'm like, it's probably time to put this one away. So I'll eat it. All right. Ed says, not sure what would make me feel worse, a day without coffee or a day without a run. Probably the latter. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably rather go a day without coffee than a day without running. Although I was thinking about a rest day here pretty soon. But yeah, well, I mean, I'll have some rest days when I taper. So I'm going to try the 2-day rest taper thing. See if that works. But yeah, I mean, there's some days where I feel like, the day gets busy and I realize like I may have made 2 cups of coffee, but, people with kids know what I'm talking about. Like you may make a whole bunch of coffee, but you don't get to drink it. And so there's some days where I don't drink that much. Oren says, what's a shoe that can do recovery runs, 11 miles max, and can pick up the pace if I need to? The Nova Blast is too unstable. I have flats for super fast stuff. I have sensitive knees, thinking Peg 37. I mean, the Peg 37 might be a little bit firm, I might say. I think the 1080 version 11, I ran in that today, sounds like a good one. I think the Invincible would be another good option. I mean, that's an expensive shoe, but it certainly comes to mind. The Freedom 3, if you think the Nova Blast is too unstable, the Freedom 3 has a similar squishiness, but it's a lower stack height, so it's not quite as unstable. So that might be another one to look at. And it's very cushioned. Let's see what else would I put in that category. I think the Clifton might also be another good one. I think that would fit in that category as well. Yeah, so those are kind of some off the top of my head. Jody says, cleaning bladders. If you can turn it inside out, do that. Occasionally soak it in sanitizing tablets used for cleaning baby bottles. Also stores it in the freezer to prevent mold. I've heard of people doing that. I think my wife would probably get mad if it was just full of empty water bladders in our freezer. Our freezer is pretty small. So that real estate's pretty valuable. But that would definitely work too. Yeah, Rick Sutter says, in the coffee versus running, I can't run without having had coffee, and I would be irritated without either. That's pretty much where I'm at. I agree with you. Where's Scott? Scott's leaving. Scott, did you have a? I'm sorry, I didn't see you had a question. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can find it. Scott, I don't see it, man. I'm sorry. Where is it? All right. Well, bring it tomorrow because I'll make sure to look for it tomorrow. Oh, here we go. Says, I am going to go to work out, so I won't hear this, but we'll listen later. What are your thoughts on the virtual Boston Marathon? Sorry that I asked a couple times. Oh, yeah. I see both sides of it. I definitely see both sides of it. So the situation for, I don't know, I'm guessing most of the people here understand exactly what the Boston Marathon situation is if I say that. But so Boston Marathon is going to have a limited in-person, so even fewer people live, assuming it gets to go, than usual. And then I guess to compensate or for whatever other reason, they're going to open up a virtual Boston Marathon as well to, I think, 80,000 or something like that. At first, I thought people were saying it was unlimited, like any person can do it as long as you're over 18. But you can participate in the virtual Boston Marathon without qualifying for the Boston Marathon. And some people are like, I look for the Boston, some people have been like, I've been working to get this BQ my whole life, and I want to get that jacket. I see other people, running around on Saturdays with the jacket, and I feel like it dilutes the goal. It's like, what's worse? The BAA saying like that time that you almost are hitting for your BAA qualifying standard just got moved up faster a little bit more, or like to say like, nope, no more standard at all. So now your BQ means nothing, right? So I think that's kind of like what people are feeling about it. And I can totally understand that. I know exactly what people are feeling. And other people are like, you know what, if you qualified for your Boston qualifier and you got it, then you got it. Having 70,000 virtual participants who are not going to be on the same race course as you doesn't matter, right? And so basically it's like it's a way of excluding people. So don't worry, it doesn't take away anything from yours. But I don't think that's quite right. I think it does take things away from it, right? I mean, let's say like, because I think then I guess anyone can buy a Boston Marathon jacket and wear the Boston Marathon jacket if you wanted to. It'd be kind of weird. I saw someone on Twitter, saying that like she heard someone argue that I was like akin to stolen valor, and she's like, I don't think it's quite that, and I don't think it's quite that either. But I think it's, the source of the indignation I think is the same. And I think that like you know, I think that they should get a different medal or something. That's what I think. Because I do think that it should be separated out. On the other hand, the other way I think of it is, I mean, this is just another flavor of that meme with the lady, and then there's a cat, right? And you guys know the meme I'm talking about? She's like yelling, and one of her friends are like holding her back. And then there's a cat that responds and is also yelling back somehow. I don't know. I love that meme. But the meme is like, someone saying like, I ran Boston. And then the cat is saying like, but you did charity bib. So I feel like it's kind of like the same. No one would begrudge someone who raised the ungodly amount it requires to get a charity bib for the Boston Marathon for proudly hanging their Boston Marathon medal or for wearing their Boston Marathon jacket. I don't think that you would really begrudge them, although I think some people do. So maybe I'm wrong on that. I think some people do are like, you ran on a charity bib. You didn't qualify. You raised money. So I think it's going to be kind of like that. And, there's no charity component to it. So that kind of like alleviates some of the sting from that, from someone who like qualified. But I just feel like someone else on Twitter said like, you know what, like this is the future. This is what racing is going to be. Every race is going to have an in-person component and a virtual component. Just get used to it, even Boston. And so I think that's kind of like where we're at. So, yeah. So sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there, but I felt like it required a little bit of kind of like discussion. Let's see. What do you guys think about it? Yeah, Martha says they'll still have 80% qualifiers and 20% charity runners, and we'll try to get as close as possible to the typical annual field. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and someone else was like, hey guys, don't you want this like race to continue being solvent, and being able to like make money? Like, so like if people want to do, and this is their only chance to like participate in this, it helps the running community. It helps runners that don't think maybe that they can ever qualify for Boston, and it helps the BAA. So I don't know. Frank says though, there will never be a virtual hard run. maybe not. But I mean, like I could see like the Shamrock Shuffle, like in Chicago having, I mean, it's virtual this year. I could see it in future years being like, hey, we're going to do, because it doesn't cost them very much to, administer that in addition to what other infrastructure they might already need. I mean, they'll have to send out more packages, but, they're also collecting race fees on top of that. So I could easily see races like the Shamrock Shuffle, other like big races, like what if even like the Boulder, things like that. I don't know anything about those race organizations, but I'm just saying like races that people have heard of across the nation that aren't like World Marathon Majors or like CIM, for example, or maybe Houston, saying like, you can come, we'd love to see you come run in person, but you know what, we're also going to get one celebrity spokesperson, like a pro that's going to run it virtual or something like that. And they're going to try to get other people to join them virtually, So like, I could see that being like a thing that they try to do. I'm not sure. Yeah. Where is it? Some Remy said something up here. Remy says exactly. Outside these running circles, people don't know or care that you have to BQ. I've been told many times that I should just run Boston and traveling as much as I have. Yeah. I mean, I think most people don't know that you have to qualify for Boston. But, like the thing is that when people want to have like, the prestige of having that Boston Marathon jacket, they're not trying to impress, or they're not getting value out of it because it signals to other people in the general population. The value is that it signals something to other runners, whose opinion you may value more, kind of thing. Yeah, you guys had some. Oh, Sarah Mim says, my mom bought me Boston Marathon 2020 hat at TJ Maxx because it was cheap and nice. I've never ran Boston and feel wrong wearing it in public because I don't want to give the impression that I ran it, but didn't. Yeah, see, I mean, for me, the Boston 8 was the first Boston Adidas shoe that I ran in. It wasn't the first Adidas shoe, but it was the first Adidas Boston shoe that I ran in. And I would have probably looked at the 7, or maybe even the 6 and approached it earlier, except for the fact that like the name of the shoe is Boston. So number one, I felt like it was kind of like bad luck almost to like, run in the shoe. That's the Boston shoe, because I was trying to get that time, and it's kind of like, putting the cart before the horse a little bit. So I understand that, and I feel that. I think that feeling is like a kind of a cousin though to like the feeling of like people saying I can't wear Vaporflies because I'm not fast. Now that's gone out the window, which I think is good. So maybe it is good, but like I don't. Yeah, I don't know. See, like I don't have any Boston. I mean, I bought the Boston 9 shoe. I bought the Boston 8, but like, but I've never run Boston either. Last year was going to be my year, but I didn't. And so I don't have any of that Boston apparel, and I probably wouldn't wear any till I run it. That's me, But like, if other people want to, totally fine. But I will tell you, when I'm running around and I see on the lakefront, people with their Boston jackets, I'm like, oh, because I could tell which ones are the Boston jackets and which ones are just Adidas jackets. But like, they're nice, and I'm like, that's a nice jacket. So I mean, that prestige is there, and the worry is that like they're diluting it. That may be a poor business decision, for the BAA, unless it's just this 1 year or 2 years, or maybe just a couple of years only, and then they stop doing that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I would love to have heard like the debates at like the BAA planning on that. Like, I wonder if that's something that they were like, oh, we didn't realize we were going to get so much backlash. We just thought it'd be a way for people to participate. But I'm sure they must have anticipated some of this. Let's see. Let's see. Carlos Rivera says, I had no idea there was a Boston Marathon jacket. Yeah, I mean, every year there's a different design for it. And yeah, I mean, I recognize them. And I mean, I can't always pick out the year, but like, you can always tell because it's got the big unicorn on the back and it looks real nice. And like I've seen people that are very much not in like marathon shape because their jacket is very old, but they're loving that jacket, and it's just a reminder to them and maybe makes them feel good, But I'm like, yeah, if you got the jacket, you earned that jacket, you wear that jacket, So it's kind of like a weird. So like, I don't know. There's part of me that very much leans towards the like, I'm not a huge fan of this virtual thing, but I just don't actually I don't know. For me, 2020, 2021, I don't really care what they do. They gotta do what they gotta do to survive because I want to be there for 2022. That's kind of where I'm at on that basically. Brian Tambourine says, with recent vaccine news, I'm hoping Boston can move the day off so it's easier to do both Chicago and Boston. First time qualifying for either this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll move the date. So I think that like, I think that, even with the recent vaccine news, I think that if, even some of the marathons that are scheduled for like basically October, end of September, October, if any of them can go, I think it'll be great, and I'll be very happy. Yeah. All right. Tal Nahama says, hey, Mike, how do you deal with blisters and hotspots? Are you using Compeed plasters or something else? I don't normally get too many hotspots. Very lucky, knock on wood. Blisters, I only get them if they're usually I only get them if there's something wrong with the shoe. There are some shoes, like some of the racing shoes, like the Alpha Fly, Adios Pro, that kind of mash up my toes a little bit. But I kind of like take that as part of the territory. I know not everyone gets that. kind of toe mashup. But it's not so big of a deal that I need to change size, I don't think. I think I'm in the right size. And, it's a race shoe. So, this is some aspect of the ride is going to be a little bit uncomfortable in sacrifice of speed, kind of thing. But one shoe that has been giving me a lot of trouble every time is that CTM Ultra Carbon, that craft shoe. That part in the heel pokes up, and I have to put on, I use something, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a blister cover from KT, the kinesiology tape company, KT. And that works well with a very, very thick sock. So I get my thickest sock and I put that on beforehand because I know it's going to bother me if I don't afterwards. Jennifer Herring says, I don't think BQ qualifying races are even anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing too. I mean, I qualified off of a 2,000 foot downhill race. So, I mean, you can always say like, I don't deserve to go either. And I mean, there's definitely an argument for that. I didn't go there thinking like, oh, this is my only way. I'm going to hack my way in. But it's a USATF certified course. And there are some courses that are not eligible for BQs. For whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly what the standards are, and that one is. So, that tunnel marathon, which, by the way, someone mentioned the other day, and I did check my email, that there are registration dates now available for the 3 tunnel marathon runnings that they're planning for this year. One's in June, one's in August, and one's in September. The first registration date opens in March 24th, so like 3 weeks. Well, exactly 3 weeks from today. So, or I guess, 24th, 21 plus 3, 24. Yeah. So there's that. And then the July one is in April, and then May for the September one. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, it comes down to vaccinations and stuff. And the timing gets rough because then September is really too close to some of the other marathons that I'm hoping to run. But, if I really don't think that Chicago is going to happen, but I do think that I have a chance at running the tunnel marathon in September, maybe that's a better option. So I don't know. But yeah, some races are very, very hilly and you don't get to have a lesser time or a more lenient time because of that. But, there's a lot of courses that their whole reason for existing is because they're flat and fast. And there's one called the BQ Last Chance race here somewhere, not in Chicago, it's somewhere in Illinois, where it's 2 loops. And so the aid stations are really well placed out, and it's very flat and it gives people an opportunity to try and qualify. And for that race, you have to have a qualifying time. So you have to be within so many minutes of your BQ qualifying time to be able to participate in this race because they want to keep the size small because they want people to be able to get through the course quickly. So it's, it's a whole different, a cottage industry, And Neville Calaga says, at least virtual races still don't count towards the Abbott 6-star medal. That would be weird if it did. But I suppose the same argument can apply. I'll just do the 6. I'll do them all virtually. I mean, that would be kind of weird to be I did all 6 virtually. Oh yeah, you traveled all those places? No, I did them all here along the lakefront in Chicago. That'd be kind of strange. But I also at that point, it defeats the purpose of trying to collect the 6 stars. Then you're collecting the 6 stars to say you collected the 6 stars, which at that point you might as well just say you collected the 6 star. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, where do you draw the line? I'm not sure, but I'm not really that concerned about it. Oren wants to know what's the difference between a 1080 version 10 and a 1080 version 11. I gotta end with it on this one for today. The 1080 version 10, I think, was heavier. The heel flare was much more giant, although it seemed to fit a little bit better. And it was bouncier and taller. I just feel there was much more cushion underneath. It felt like a max cushion shoe. The 1080 version 11 seems much more streamlined and stripped down. It doesn't feel like there's as much stack height or at least cushioning in the forefoot for my taste. And the knit, I feel has changed a little bit. The 1080 version 10 was almost kind of more neoprene-like, booty-like. And the version 11 is a very, very nice knit material. So like those are some of the changes. So I feel like it's been refined in a lot of like subtle ways, which I think are very good. Although overall, all those changes together I do think changed the nature of the shoe quite a bit. It's no longer like squarely in max cushion territory. Like last year, I was calling all those shoes like the new school of max cushion, where it's max cushion, but you still could run like, you know, some threshold miles in there if you needed to, or some moderate miles if you needed to. Maybe not threshold miles, but certainly some moderate miles, maybe a couple of strides, you know, you can do it. This year it's more in like the, you know, cushion daily trainer. So like if there's a spectrum, like Bondi 7's over here and like Pegasus is over here, the 1080 version 10 used to be kind of like in the middle of that. It's even closer towards the daily trainer now in the 11. So, all right. I'm gonna have to leave it there for today, everybody. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if we'll have a video tomorrow, just because normally I do a lot of work on the video in the evening once my wife is done with work and she can kind of be with the kids, but I'm gonna go see my buddy. So I might not have time to get the video out tomorrow. If not, we'll still have a live stream happy hour tomorrow. I think it could be a fun one. We'll have to see. I have to check my email about it. So we'll see about that tomorrow. But either event, I'll be here 3 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully you guys will be here too. And in the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.